Good, happy Thursday morning, August 1st, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Manchester Diocese releases list of priests accused of abuse. 73 names involving cases going back decades. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Manchester released a list Wednesday of priests accused of sexually abusing children as part of what it called an effort to take accountability for the abuse that stretched back decades. The diocese posted the list of 73 names on its website that go far back as 1950, including 2 names that were never made public before. Of those on the list, 50 are deceased. The other 23 have either left the ministry or are prohibited from public ministry as a priest. Along with the names, the list includes parishes where the priests served and the status of their cases. But the list provides no details of the allegations or the dates when the events happened, which angered at least one survivor of diocese abuse. The survivors network of those abused by priests, known as SNAP, also questioned the limited details released about the priest. Among the details they won't divulge is when the abuse happened, what steps were taken against the priest, and when the actions were taken to help determine if there was any kind of cover-up by the diocese. They also said the list should include priests who served in the diocese but committed abuse elsewhere, as well as allegations against nuns, religious brothers, or lay employees. The Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence said the list shows the diocese is taking a step toward accountability, but it also argued church leaders to come out in support of an end to the statute of limitation on the crimes committed by the priest. Bishop Peter Libzik, in a letter accompanying the list, apologizes for the abuse and said he prays daily that victims find healing and that we never allow such darkness to enter our church again. The names are accompanied by resources on the website for survivors and a section for anyone to report church abuse. The diocese has published some names in the past, but this is the first time all the names are compiled in one place. It also comes more than 17 years after the diocese entered an agreement with the state over how it handles sexual abuse allegations. Under the agreement, the state said it would not prosecute the diocese as an institution or any individual for their past handling of sexual abuse allegations involving clergy. County attorneys still can pursue individual prosecutions. In return, the diocese agreed to enter strict new child protection policies amid its action had harmed children and opened itself up to a series of audits. The new policies include reporting all allegations to the Attorney General's office and removing abused church personnel from their job. In 2009, after the last audit was done, the Attorney General's office said the diocese had improved its safeguards for children, but it recommended the diocese strengthen its background check and training database, improve communication between officials working to prevent abuse, and being conducted its own internal auditing. More than 140 religious orders and Roman Catholic dioceses have released similar lists. More than 100 of those lists were either released or significantly updated since a Pennsylvania grand jury in last year detailed hundreds of cases of alleged abuse. Many dioceses haven't historically named priests who were accused of their death because they can't defend themselves. Though some have changed their policies for transparency. Granite Staters in audience for second debate night. New Hampshire residents say they're looking forward to comparing candidates. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
Based on the format, there are likely to be more fireworks tonight, and at least 2 Granite Staters will be in the audience watching intently. Phil Spagnolo of Laconia is in Detroit as a guest of Tulsi Gabbard and her family.
They've been to my house for my 4th of July barbecue. We just hung out, so they offered me an invitation to come, and I decided that I can't pass up on the opportunity.
Edwina van der Zanden of Rochester won a contest and will be in the Fox Theater as a guest of Kamala Harris, whose campaign got a big boost out of last month's debate.
She's just brilliant, she's amazing. One of the things that I really like about her is that she has both legislative and executive experience.
Both Phil and Edwina are active participants in the process of vetting the presidential candidates. They say this debate is just another opportunity to help them decide how they'll cast their primary ballots.
We take our job seriously. I know the rest of the country is jealous of us at how we preserve our first-in-the-nation primary, but I think we earned it. I think we do a really good job.
Interestingly, both Phil and Edwina say they're not interested in seeing any big fights tonight. They'd prefer the candidates focus on policy and the plans they would implement if they become president. Live in the studio, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. ham radio operator killed when tower he was dismantling collapsed. Friend seriously injured in accident. Let's take a listen to that video from WNUR News 9, Jennifer Crompton.
"69% of New Hampshire's young children have parents in the workforce. Providing children with effective early learning experiences while their parents are at work supports families and strengthens our economy."
Fellow ham radio enthusiasts know Joe Arizaga by his call sign, K1JGA, a good friend, loving husband and father to 6 from Goffstown. His buddy Dave sharing a picture of the two working on Dave's radio tower.
So you're going up and you're inspecting it, making sure everything looks good, bolts are tight. We all have all the very appropriate gear.
It's what he was doing Saturday morning when Joe was killed. Another amateur radio friend seriously injured as Joe helped that friend dismantle his radio tower in Deerfield.
Upon arrival, the first member from the department found 2 individuals entangled in what appeared to be a tower and some sort of cabling that was on the ground.
Both men harnessed to a section of tower over 40 feet up when it collapsed, taking them down with it.
They always used the utmost safety. I mean, it was just a freak accident. It was some sort of soft spot somewhere in the tower.
Joe's wife Elizabeth says he was a self-taught handyman who could fix anything, who loved his job working for Aramark, overseeing the grounds of Manchester's public schools.
He was an incredible, incredible person. And the world will never be as bright now that he's not in it.
New Hampshire's ham radio community is very tight, a fraternity that's remembering their friend Joe as someone who was always willing to help.
He would drop anything to do anything for anybody, ham-related or not.
Authorities call this a tragic accident. Fellow amateur radio enthusiasts hoping to learn from what happened so it doesn't happen again. In Deerfield, Jennifer Crompton, WNUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Strong storms down trees, knock out power as heat wave ends. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
Searching for a beach vacation? Find it at Verbo. They search millions of homes to find your perfect beach house.
I'm in shock. I live right past the jungle there.
Coming home to destruction after a downburst toppled trees. This one blocking Cottage Park Road, knocked out power.
That microburst hit, you could tell by the swirling winds and everything like that. He said, I didn't know what to do, so I came out front and found out my tree is now laying in the street.
Yo, 420 to go!
Powerful winds tore through the yacht club, overturning boats and ripping sails.
We kept seeing our little sailboats flip over. Even bigger boats were flipping over.
Youth Regatta was rushed to safety off the water, but the race committee's engine died as the storm hit.
We were up to 54-mile-an-hour winds. Scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Been on the water forever.
The wind's so strong, these folks have a new couch.
Came flying off the second floor porch in the back, bounced down the street, and landed right there.
Trees hang dangerously on lines and cars as homeowners rush to clean up. Damage lingers into the night. These crews obviously working into the night. We are also seeing power crews still making the rounds here. As a reminder, if you see any wires down on the ground, stay clear. They could be live. We're live in Winthrop. Sean Shia, WCVB News Center 5.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Man critically injured in Route 1 crash dies of injuries, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
It's blueberry season in Maine. At Libby & Son U-Picks in Limerick, you'll find big, fat, juicy blueberries ripe for picking. Bring your family, enjoy the view, and treat yourself to freshly made blueberry donuts and smoothies. Libby & Son U-Picks, Limerick, Maine.
We've just learned that one of the people injured in a crash on Route 1 in Woolwich has died from his injuries. This is file of the scene of 58-year-old Barry Wyman. Is dead after the 4-vehicle crash in mid-July. 3 other people were hurt in that crash, and it remains under investigation.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dow features marginally lower after Fed cools expectations of further rate cuts. U.S. stocks were lower Thursday morning after the Federal Reserve's damped hopes of a lengthy easing cycle following a 225 base point rate cut. And Democratic debate night to fact-check the candidate on the issues. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
This is America, and we are strong and great because of this diversity.
The first thing that I'm going to do when I'm president is I'm going to Clorox the Oval Office.
The opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes masks. Americans right now are paying so much money for their health care.
Vice President Biden, you're just simply inaccurate in what you're describing. The reality is that our plan will bring health care to all Americans under a Medicare for All system.
If we can't admit tonight what's in the plan, which is banning employer-based insurance, we're not going to be able to admit that when Donald Trump is accusing Democrats of doing that as well.
I don't know what math you do in New York. I don't know what math you do in California, but I tell you, that's a lot of money, and there will be a deductible.
People can find safety and opportunity at home instead of having to come to the United States.
What we need are politicians that actually have some guts on this issue.
Thank you.
I have guts enough to say his plan doesn't make sense. Barack Obama went out of his way to try to change the system, and he got pushed back significantly.
Senator Gillibrand, what's your response? You invoke President Obama more than anybody in this campaign. You can't do it when it's convenient and then dodge it when it's not.
The president's racist rhetoric should be enough grounds for everybody in this country to vote him out of office.
Some are from shithole countries and some are from worthy countries. We need to reform this whole immigration system.
I would trust anyone on the stage much more than I would trust our current president on matters of criminal justice.
Why the police officer who killed Eric Gardner is still on the NYPD.
He should be fired. He should be fired now.
The Garner family, they've gone through extraordinary pain. They are waiting for justice, and they're going to get justice.
It looks like one of us has learned the lessons of the past, and one of us hasn't.
Biden was in the United States Senate working with segregationists to oppose busing.
Let's fix our school system, and maybe we can fix the prison pipeline that we have.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. You owe them an apology.
This is Martin Luther King, who in 1967, his book Chaos Our Community said, we need a guaranteed minimum income in the United States.
Mr. Vice President, there's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor.
And I can talk to those white women in the suburbs that voted for Trump and explain to them what white privilege actually is. That when their son is walking down a street with a bag of M&Ms in his pocket, wearing a hoodie, his whiteness is what protects him from not being shot.
And no more subsidies for either one of those. Either any fossil fuel.
We cannot work it out. We cannot work this out. The time is up. Our house is on fire.
We in the United States Congress should start impeachment proceedings immediately.
On January 20th, 2021, we'll say together, adios to Donald Trump.
Okay, and there you go on that video in that report. And we want to hear from all of you. If you watched last night's debate, let us know what you thought about last night's debate. Comment below and let us know. And that's going to do it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.